We went into this having no idea.
Who are like some of the bands that you really want to collaborate with going forwards? Yeah,
I don't want to name names because I've
do you have your eye on a few?
Yes.
Are they like very new?
Yes.
Are they here?
Perhaps.
Where is the mic off, kar den, please? Every LMM is a struggle. It is a very mentally, emotionally, physically exhausting process.
Who are you guys funded by?
Oh, I see it.
We were so ambitious. We were so like, we're gonna do this. Everyone's gonna help us. I love these questions.
कोई खुश नहीं होता at the end of the day यार. हाँ मैं नहाती नहीं हूँ. Like मैं अब क्या करूँ? किधर अप्लाई करूँ? मुझे बताओ. मैं Google भी करती हूँ music jobs in Lahore. तो मुझे क्या मिलेगा? It's not a competition, right? Like LMM is not who is the best.
Last night when I was going through the Insta stories that had tagged Propaganda, there was this one guy who had said he just got married and he really wanted to bring his wife to the show with my concert, and the passes were out.
That really sucks for him.
Yeah, we were like, bro, we feel you, but it's first come first serve. TK, we didn't even get the passes, so like, yeah, we feel you.
I mean, it's interesting because it's a free event, but there is unfortunately a lot of entitlement to deal with on every front in terms of especially audience members. Although for the most part, a lot of people are very like kind and nice and great energy, but a lot of people are like just like, this is my right to be in this room, and that's great also because that means that they're here to see the artist or they're here to see the panel and they are part of a fan base. लेकिन फिर वो हमारा मसला हो जाता है तो इतना nice नहीं रहता.
So हर किसी को खुश नहीं किया जा सकता.
कोई खुश नहीं होता at the end of the day यार. Like मैं रात को बैठ के सोचती हूँ आज मैंने क्या सही किया है यार.
Like when people go back home from the शादी and they're like, oh खाना अच्छा नहीं था.
सब कुछ यार. कल मेरे माँ प्यो कह रहे थे बेटा ये कुछ ऑफ था अगले साल ये करना. मैंने कहा बस प्यार दे दो 2 मिनट यार. मैंने पूरा दिन फेस्टिवल का किया. क्या सीन है? हाँ यार. क्यों?
So talking about LMM, it all starts from your passion for music.
Yeah.
So and how are things now? Like if you thought कि उस वक्त आपने sneakily अपने पैसे आपको जोड़ने पड़े for an instrument, how are things at home now? Seeing कि भाई 5th LMM का edition है इतना successful जा रहा है. How's the sport at home now?
I mean, eventually I realized इजाज़त ना मांगो तो it's easier. इजाज़त मांगने से बेहतर है माफ़ी मांग लो. You know, and that's a lot easier. Then they stop asking you these questions. कि क्यों किया ये? It's just like मैंने कर लिया. मुझे ये करना है.
Too late.
तो आप देख लें.
Oh, sneaky.
But after this year's LMM, I mean, again, like entitlement काफी है. There are people who work really hard to get even the most simple of acoustic guitars, जो कि 3-4 हज़ार के होते हैं, but still they work so hard. And then there are people who have $4,000 के guitars who are just coming in and they're like, oh, we need 2 bouncers, and you know, I'm not saying any names. It's fine.
Please don't.
I'm not. I swear to God. I know I'm not supposed to. I swear to God. मैं नहीं करेगी. Sorry, you skipped it. I'm so scared.
Where is the mic off kar den, please?
Okay, then Natasha, so before doing this Townhall, we were like, okay, we got to research a lot, and I googled you, and there's one thing that kept popping up again and again. First I want to know what you think it is.
No, I'm not giving you any of that.
Okay.
No.
TEDx talk?
No.
Stop it!
That was the first thing.
Great वाली आपने देखी है.
But there's something else. It's nothing like dangerous per se. But यार आपकी एक green सलवार कमीज है with red roses on it.
Yeah.
Which is the feature image of every article.
यार I'm sorry, हमने एक दिन सारे अपने शूट्स किए हैं. ठीक है, जो हमारा एक फोटो शूट था अरीश के साथ, एक था हमारा वो हमने सिर्फ एक दफ़ा प्रेस पिक्चर्स किए हैं.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So sorry guys, I'm also not like हाँ मैं नहाती नहीं हूँ. हमारे पास एक दिन था सारे शूट्स करने के लिए, मैं वार्डरोब साथ लेके नहीं फिर सकती, हम वो इसका स्टार्स नहीं है, लेकिन वो है अच्छी सलवार कमीज यार, come on.
Very nice, I love it.
I look great in it. It's got pockets. I am totally game with it.
Boss shaming her.
Oh, I see it, I see it, I see it.
Townhall. How
It's very dope.
Thank
Then I've also seen it before. That's why
Yeah.
when we came, your first meeting with us.
Man, what can I say? It's memorable, and I don't have that many clothes. I'm so sorry.
outfit? Yeah.
Ask me about the free.
Outfit. Yeah.
First LMM and
No, the question. The first LMM was great also, definitely in its own way, because we went into this having no idea at all what we needed to do, what we were to expect. We had a big idea, and again, always a tiny team, and hum bhi us waqt, like, but we were 22, 23 at that point, just final year of college and everything, और उस वक्त तो लगता है कि दुनिया बस हमारी है. अगर वो वाली एनर्जी ना होती और अगर उस टाइम पे ना करते तो शायद LMM हम बाद में ना करते. Is what I think I don't think I would have thought about it if I had experienced the real world. So, but it was great because we started off by just Facebook inboxing people. We didn't know any of these artists or celebrities or anybody. हम कौन थे, हम बच्चे थे, students थे. So like हनिया को हम inbox कर रहे हैं, गम्बी को हम inbox कर रहे हैं. A lot of people responded. One thing we lucked out with, that my cousin was getting married that weekend, so we had the entire Karachi crew of like musicians come in for free. हमने किसी के tickets के पैसे नहीं दिए, so like they showed up. That was great. It was definitely much smaller. There was no trussing on the stage outside. There was no lighting in the evening. Nothing fancy at all. And even now we're not really spending much on decor or anything because that's not what the vibe is. The vibe is really based on community and things like that. But budget was like 1/6 of what we're on, even though what we're on right now is nominal. But and also convincing artists was a lot, harder, because who are we? What is this grand idea? Why are you doing this out of the goodness of your heart? अभी तक थोड़ा सा शक होता है लोगों को, I think, कि हम क्यों करते हैं ये? Because we're not getting paid.
Who are you
for
guys
this.
funded by?
We are currently funded by Pepsi right now. And that's been good because this year we have one sponsor as opposed to 6 smaller sponsors, which means more sponsor management and things like that. उस पहले साल में तो हमने like loan shows लिए हैं, like, you know what I mean, like Miller tractors भी आए थे, like we had to like really like वो वाला scene था, वो वाला scene था, Miller tractors, and like again we had great partners supporting and collaborating with us and really helping. And Lotus has been with us since the start, and they're not just PR, they're on ground with us and things like that, because we get overwhelmed. We don't know how to handle all these people. Media भी आ जाती है. Remember Ataullah का वो जो एक mob हुआ था, उसके end में we had to like lock Ataullah away for like 5-10 minutes. तो इस तरह के मसले मसाइल, with the past few years. But coming back to the question, sorry, it's massively different. There are people who have been coming since the first year, and you kind of like see them. एक उस basis पे community बन गई. उस बंदे का नाम नहीं आप जानते, लेकिन सलाम दुआ है उसके साथ. Just because you've been seeing them for that long, and people, have their favorite LMMs, have their favorite artists and things like that. So, I guess हम वो एक चीज़ बन गई है.
Got the question right?
Yeah. No, I mean the difference, like it's become more of a thing, right? There's less explaining to do this year. I think that's the biggest difference.
So one thing जो मैंने notice किया है, especially लाहौर के young musician crowd is कि वो सारे बहुत इकट्ठे, जितने किसी भी गिग हो काफ़ी ज़्यादा बॉयज़ पहुंच जाते हैं. तो इज़ दिस ओनली लाहौर थिंग कि ये सारे आप लोग इकट्ठे होते हो, या फिर म्यूजिशियन जो अपकमिंग जनरेशन है वो पाकिस्तान में वैसे ही बड़ी एक दूसरे को सपोर्ट करें?
यार गिग्स पे तो कोई नहीं आता. तुम कौन से गिग्स पे जा रहे हो? मेरी गिग्स अच्छा यही boys, वो जो repeat boys, हाँ वो, I mean, yeah, like there's always, I think, like every city has its own kind of following, every band has its own following, every kind of genre, then जितना macro जाते जाओ उनकी है एक following, but also it's just become harder to, I guess, engage more people and get to different avenues of audiences in that. But LMM का ये फायदा कि you get to see people beyond that crowd. I think वो एक है. But I think I don't really know अगर you know हर city में scene on है हर city में in a different way. Karachi has its own completely different vibe. Different genres are more popular there than they are in Lahore, and consequently Islamabad and Peshawar, so on so forth. तो हर किसी का अपना एक उसके अंदर आपके छोटे kind of situations बने होते हैं, like smaller bands, smaller kind of groupies and things like that. But it's there, it's all there. People are listening.
And you know, when we talk about how LMM has changed, what about the team? How has that grown over time? Like, what was the team initially? Was it just both of you? Who else did you bring on board?
We started off with like 4 founders.
Okay.
4, right? Yeah, not 4, yeah. So the first LMM was just, we were so ambitious. We were so like, we're gonna do this. Everyone's gonna help us. And we were someday like, Acha, we don't. Hall 1 was under construction. So we were like, that's not gonna stop us. We're gonna convert the art gallery into a hall. Why did we do that? And then we just got like everybody, and then we had so many panels. So we had like hundreds of people coming in, and we were children, and they didn't care we were children either. Like, and then we were like, "Acha, hum 4 founders hain, hum ek karke halls mein jayenge," because that's fine, right? Oh God. And then we had like a core team. Yeah, we had our core team, and we normally pick kids who are younger than us, so we can boss them around a little bit. And I don't get it, but like people enjoy it, and
Good one. Okay. Nice. Good. I like it. I like it.
Okay, so also one thing I want to ask is, what really happens between one LMM and the next? How soon does the planning begin? What does the next 2 months look like for you guys?
Yeah, the next 2 months look like payments, because there are things that the big word we learned in 2015 is credit cycle. We're all stuck in those, and so we will be running around after this doing post and making sure everyone is sorted out, and all the money that needs to come in and go out does that, and that takes some time always, unfortunately. But then after that, we just kind of chill out for a bit, like we kind of do live our lives. It's actually, like, honestly speaking, every LMM is a struggle. It is a very mentally, emotionally, physically exhausting process, which requires therapy afterwards as well. It really truly does, because it is dealing with a lot of people. It is kind of like 2016 and 2017, there were bomb blasts before each LMM, and kind of at that age, kind of deciding that you want to do a music festival and ensure, without being able to really ensure the security of people and things like that, and do a music festival in that climate. These things are stressful. This is like high-end stress, with sponsors dropping out last minute, doing all of these things along those lines. And so there is a lot of kind of things that are not nice for us. So we take some time to unwind, unpack what's happened, because there's a lot going on. Even now, abhi kuch 6 cheezein baat ho rahi hain. You know, in terms of like good things that are happening, that are, yeah, buri bhi cheezein ho rahi hain, lekin unka list mein nahi de sakti, because that number is infinite. But yeah, the idea is that we take some time off, and then we spend all year though ideating, right? Like we're listening to music, we're constantly scouting. किसी का भी Instagram पे कुछ pop up हो जाता है, वो बैठ के save कर देते हैं, फिर एक दूसरे को भेजते हैं, फिर जाके concerts देखते हैं, फिर चीज़ें पढ़ते हैं, लिखते हैं, लोगों से मिलते हैं पूरे साल, just to kind of have an idea of what's going to happen at the end of the year, and which is the end of the year for us is LMM. That's when the new year happens, because अब खत्म हो गया हमारा साल, 10 बजे हमारी new year शुरू हो जाएगी party.
Talking about your work relation, जितनी दफ़ा मैंने आप लोगों को इकट्ठे मिला हूँ, I love the energy, I love the chemistry. एक कॉम्प्लीमेंट हो रहा होता है एक दूसरे को, एक चीज़ संभाल रही होती है, एक चीज़. सबसे पहले मुझे प्लीज़ नाम का तो सीन बताएं, बिरयानी ब्रदर्स.
Yeah, the name. Oh, band पे आ गए, okay. Yeah, again, so this was last year of college. We've known each other from 2011, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been playing music with each other since then, and
It's been 9 years.
that's a lot of math.
Oh my God.
Okay, time. Chalo, okay, bye. Okay. So basically, final year of my last semester at college was not a fun time for me. I was not having a great situation. I was waking up at 8 p.m., sleeping at 8 a.m. तो जब मैं 8 बजे जागती थी मैं ज़ारा को मैसेज करती थी यार खोके से प्लीज़ बिरयानी हाफ बिरयानी एक पैक चिप्स और एक ड्रिंक ले आए आप तो ये हर रोज़ खोके से जाके डॉर्म से तक मुझे ड्रॉप करती थी एंड देन शी'd कम एंड या तो गिटार बजा रही होती थी थोड़ी देर के लिए whatever so she'd come she'd cheer me up she'd like make sure she checked in and all of that. So she was a bro that bought me biryani and so
Therefore, we are biryani bros.
I feel like now the audience is expecting this big question, but my question was, how is it like working with Sikandar Khaman? The काफी basic
You
question.
say it like it's past tense.
No, like how is it like starting? No, how is it like starting off?
Yeah, it's really nice actually. You know, because normally you have to like वो gender scene होता है right? थोड़े से gender dynamics you have to work around them. But with these guys, वो तो they're not sexist at all. They're the total opposite. They give me their equipment to carry. You know, they're the other side of the spectrum. You know, and I kind of appreciate that as well. They're really sweet and they're amazing to collaborate with. हाँ नखरे होंगे sometimes, but everybody has नखरे. I have नखरे, but I really enjoy like the brodom that I have with them.
Who are like some of the bands that you really, really want to collaborate with going forwards? Yeah, you
Like-
really love to. Yeah.
I don't want to name names because I've
Do you have your eye on a few?
Yes.
Are they like very new?
Yes.
Are they here?
Perhaps.
You went to Karachi to manage strings and you have also worked at Coke Studio. तो ये सारा एक तो you're doing this for your passion, but obviously रोजी रोटी चलानी होती. So रोजी रोटी वाला phase कैसा रहता है?
Yeah, Rosie Roti wala phase is interesting. I haven't done Rosie Roti in about 2 years now, so I have no idea what that feels like anymore. Yeah. But it's been interesting. I moved to Karachi right after we started LMM. We both moved back, right? At that point, yeah. I worked at 89 for a bit, and then I worked at Coke Studio for a bit. It was great, dude. Like it's great to also see what it's like in a actual like professional environment to see massive productions happening where like जुगाड़ नहीं करना पड़ता क्योंकि हमारा standard तो like bare minimum and like is just जुगाड़. Everything that can be done through that system, it will be done through that system. But yeah, it's like, oh, you can order more food than you actually need. Like बिल्कुल like count नहीं करना पड़ता. So, but it was great working with lots of artists and things like that. And I do, even with my work, keep it associated with music because I'm not really interested in doing much else beyond that. And the management side does fascinate me, as does academia within music research as well. So it's definitely been fun. Like, ठीक है, पैसे आ जाते हैं. You meet a lot more people. Like managing high stress situations in that. Like again with high end productions, you have like a team of 200 people with you for like maybe 48 hours at a stretch. You're like constantly dealing with har kisi ka masle masail, but that's also what we literally do at LMM. We have a team of maybe like the amount of people working right now, probably closer to 200, 250, including sound, video, everybody, and all of that. And then you have all the partners and everybody coming in. So, like music as a career is also strange because there's no ladder. There's no kind of roadmap of how you can. Like, मैं अब क्या करूँ? किधर apply करूँ? मुझे बताओ. मैं Google भी करती हूँ music jobs in Lahore, तो मुझे क्या मिलेगा? So it's like a lot of playing it by ear and just finding projects that make me, well, happy is a generous word. Projects that challenge me until I get bored with them and then I bounce. That's the game.
So you talked a bit about what it's like when you guys curate talent, like after you guys recoup, you start. But what are the few things that you really look for in musicians to actually give them space at the LMM?
Well, I mean, okay, first of all, sometimes people are like, oh, please let me. And it's like, I'm not doing this because you're being nice to me. I'm gonna do this if you like really, if I really feel like people should hear you, and I feel like I can put myself out there to put you out there. You know, I'm not gonna go all out for a band that I don't think everybody should hear. There are a lot of entitled musicians out there. A lot of people want to be on stage. I'm not saying anything about the names, but you know, a lot of people do, and I mean, even when we reject people, honestly, they take it so personally, and it's like, we are not the end all. Like, we don't know anything. I would admit I know nothing about music. You guys know everything about music. Do your own festival. I suck at this, you know, like, but the whole point is I'm doing my best, you know. You guys do your best, and if, you know, one day we meet on the same stage, that's great. I want you guys to succeed. I want to succeed, you know. It's one of those things. But I think either you like, oh, you rejected me, you know, or you accepted me, oh, now you're going to accept me every year. No, that's not going to happen either. You know, the point is, this is just a stepping stone for your musical journey. This is not the end of your musical journey. So when we curate talent, one of the things we look for is the energy of the person we're looking at, the kind of vibe they have. That's why the stage, like even yesterday, there were these indie ukulele performers alongside people like, you know, Mikael Hassan on the same stage. It makes no sense, and makes total sense at the same time. This is our music scene right now. It's a child and it's a grown-ass adult at the same time. You know, it's the same thing. Should I have censored that? Sorry.
I think what people don't realize about the curation is that it's not a competition, right? Like, LMM is not who is the best. I mean, obviously there is a certain standard of music that we need to maintain and things like that, but the curation process is, as Zahra mentioned, about who should be heard, but that also goes in tandem with the fact that who is also not being heard, whose voice is kind of being shut out, who is not being able to get those platforms just because they don't know the right person or don't live in the right city or don't own the right equipment or aren't commercial enough and things like that. Hi, Minu. And so usme aap banda, like, that's what a lot of people don't realize. And also, even like, for example, getting repeat artists, we try not to repeat too many artists, otherwise we're putting up the same LMM every year, and that's useless to everyone attending, especially like people who come to LMM every single year and who are, you know, diligent about attending it. Like, some of you, like, your faces I've seen since the first year, and agar hum wohi acts dale to phir aap log kyun aayenge? So there is a lot more into the process than just these are the 10 best ones, or, you know, just there's a lot more thought that goes into the curation than I think artists do realize. Naraz bhi ho jate, which is kind of also nice, because I guess that it means that we've made LMM a place where they want to play, which is kind of cool, right? Like,
Kind of.
we become a thing, and we, like, you know, just it's nice. It has a flip side.
A flip side.
A flip side.
So, एक तो आपके बाकी सारे आर्टिस्ट होते हैं, but every year you have someone like Ataullah, Istar, Nasibullah. How do you decide कि इस तरह के हमें आर्टिस्ट को लाना है?
एक सेकंड, इस तरह क्या है?
मतलब एक that's a different market altogether. वो masses different.
नहीं यार, यही तो LMM बदलना चाहता है कि there are LMM is rooted in being a Pakistani music festival, right? In that it is purely curating Pakistani music, and if I'm not mistaken, it's probably the only festival in Pakistan that doesn't get international acts just to boost ticket sales and things like that, right? That's what we have been from the start, and that's what we will continue to be until we're not. But that's the idea, right? Because लोग कहते हैं कि आपको या तो international stardom या तो India से या UK से आपको ठप्पा चाहिए, फिर हम आपकी इज्जत करेंगे, right? This is about breeding that kind of acceptance, again, like across classes of music, right? Across different types of music and genres of music, and to bring them all together. That's also, again, like into the curation that we do, is कि जब आप इस तरह के musicians उस तरह के musicians के साथ डाल रहे हैं, that's exactly the point, is that there needs to be a lot more blending of those boundaries that are not rooted in actually music, but are rooted in things like class, that are rooted in things like social capital, that are rooted in all of these things, and unko thoda sa mitane ka scene hai. Because if someone has been considered low art, if someone has been considered low art, then that's not value to us. Even now, there is no main stage, there is no one stage, there's no headliner at this festival.
Talking about the blend, something I noticed पिछले जब फरीद आया था, that Taka opened for them. Yeah. So इस तरह के blend is something जो हमें कहीं और नहीं देखने को मिलेगा. So again, coming back to the question कि इस तरह के artists, by what I meant is Naseebul Lal.
Yeah.
Naseebul Lal is someone who my father listened to, our older generation, but we did. So what was the thought process like for choosing Naseebul Lal, for instance?
I think उसका यही situation है कि like बिल्कुल सही बात है कि like we very pointedly put Taka Tak, a progressive metal band, to open for Faride Aas Qawwal, who is a very commercially well-known kind of qawwal group, for that very reason, because the part of the curation is not just blending genres for the artists or breaking them onto a similar platform and creating that meritocracy in a space, but also for the audience, because there's like listening, people are not interested in listening, right? They're not going to listen to music that they don't usually listen to, in that's what I mean. So this is kind of forcing them to engage with music that is so far apart कि वो शायद सुनने, right? Making sure my parents are listening to the music I listen to, so that they have to sit through an hour of Taka Tak to get through to Faride Aas Qawwal. That's kind of the point, is to put them in that situation. All based on Dhoka, guys. This whole festival is a Dhoka.
So guys, I think you only have time for one more question before you have to head off to your next session. What's happening tonight? Kya scenes hai? After this ends, are you guys going home crashing?
After this ends?
Yeah.
मैं तो घर जा रही हूँ अम्मा, promise.
Confidential information.
मैं 10 बजे घर पहुँच जाऊँगी.
We're not going to talk to anybody. We're just going to start.
Phones off होंगे.
Yeah,
10:30 बजे
this-
phones
this-
off होंगे. MIA after that,
Yeah.
but it'll be fun.
नहीं फिर सुबह phones आएंगे.
नहीं, तब तो phone off होगा.
कल रात को 1 बजे सुबह किसी आर्टिस्ट का फोन आया कि वो मेरा सॉन्ग आया. I was like, oh my god, go away.
बस यार, 10 more hours, 8 more hours.
Oh, this is
TikTok.
So before we wrap up, we'd like a huge round of applause for Natasha and Zahra for putting the element together.